Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to my French Open preview 2021. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this video, and I'm going to really just go through the draw. I don't really have the technology to show you the draw as I go through it, but I'm really just going to go through the draw. You could stop the video and then look at the draw yourself, or I can just explain it and you can just listen to me talk about it. But firstly, before I get into that, I just want to quickly talk about Geneva and the Geneva 250. Like we saw Federer go out, then I've explained that and what happened, and Federer just had a bad day. He's been out for so long. We're talking about a 40-year-old taking a long time to get his game going. Andahar played well, and then we were just left with Rudd and Shapovalov. I think Shapovalov's injured. Rudd's probably one of the top 10 clay court players, so he took that one out. And then over in Lyon, Dominic Thiem, that was a big test for him. Where is he going to go? Um, where is Dominic Thiem going to go? So he had a chance to play a 250, not many guys there, at least get to a final against Tsitsipas. But what we saw, he looked a bit better in Madrid than he was earlier in the year on the hard courts, and Thiem made the semi-final there. But then in Rome, we saw him, he lost to Sonigo. But he played like an okay first round, but not quite as good as Madrid. He's dropping off. But then just like he dropped off from Madrid to a semi-final to Rome, I think it was the third round, then now he's out in his first round. I think that was the second round in Lyon. And in straight sets. So I just think that it was a bad situation for Thiem, and then the opponent that he lost. I mean, it's just shocking. In Lyon, I'm just going to the guy's name. Yeah, Cameron Norrie, and 6-3, 6-2. Like Norrie, he's a rallier like Thiem. He gives Thiem rhythm. But he doesn't have the power of Thiem, more like a Ferrer. So he's just getting the ball back, keeping it on the court, not rushing Thiem. And Thiem just can get rhythm, getting the rally, and just overpower the forehand, even the backhand. But he's out 6-3, 6-2 in his first round of that tournament. And for me, we've seen him at the semi-finals at Madrid, and then a third round in Rome, and then now his first round of the tournament being eliminated against someone like Norrie. And he couldn't even make it close. And he's just got errors. And the closer we get to the French Open, if you look Madrid, Rome, Lyon, Thiem's got worse. And then Tsitsipas ends up winning the tournament. He actually beats Norrie in straight sets. I think it was like 6-3, 6-3. So then that gets to my French Open power rankings before I go through the draw. Now with Tsitsipas beating Norrie, Tsitsipas he's since the clay court season, he's been doing well. Like Monte Carlo, he's won it, so that's a big thing. So usually you'd think Nadal, Djokovic, and Thiem, but on clay, usually Thiem's a bit better than Djokovic when he's at his best. So you'd think Nadal would be your favorite, followed by Thiem, followed by Djokovic, and then a big gap to anyone else. Well, there's quite a big gap for Nadal and anyone else, but Thiem and Djokovic on that second, third, and Thiem a bit above. But now, clearly, if he's just above Djokovic, we've been playing this poorly. Djokovic has just made the final in Rome. We've got to put Djokovic at number 2 in the French Open power ranks, push Thiem down to 3. I left Thiem at 3 on my French Open power rankings. So what I wanted to see is Thiem against Tsitsipas, because Tsitsipas was at 4, and Thiem to hold his position by winning Lyon. But instead, he loses the first round. And if Tsitsipas lost in the third round, then maybe you could say you'll keep Thiem at the third favourite here for Roland Garros. But the problem is Thiem lost in his first round of the tournament against Norrie, 6-3, 6-2. A Garalli, a guy without much power to hurt him. So then what am I going to have to do with Thiem? And then when Tsitsipas at the same time is just behind him, wins the tournament, and he's already won another Masters of 1,000 in Monte Carlo. In Rome, in Barcelona, he almost won it. He pushed Nadal to 3.5 hours in a best-of-3 set match to the limit on his home court in Spain on clay, so he's got to win. Then he almost beats Nadal at the 500 in Barcelona. And then Madrid, he didn't play that well, but Rome, he's in the quarterfinals. He's playing Djokovic. He's coming down to 1 or 2 points. I think he had a match point. And so with Djokovic and Tsitsipas being the second and third best player on clay behind Nadal, it's showing that they're about even, not Thiem. But Djokovic just gets it. So they're about the same, but just comes down to Djokovic being a bit better. But he's making the quarterfinals and it's coming down to 1 or 2 points with him and Djokovic. He's on that level, 1 or 2 points, him and Nadal at Barcelona, winning Lyon, and then he won Monte Carlo. Whereas when you look at Thiem, semi-final, third round, I think second round in Lyon, but his first round. And then before in the hard courts, he's had a horrible year all year. This top 3 on clay, that there's a big gap with everyone else, Thiem, Nadal, and Djokovic. I'm going to have to push Thiem now down to 4 on my French Open power rankings, just because no one else is there. But I'm going to give Nadal the number 1 spot. Djokovic is my number 2 on the French Open power rankings. Number 3, now I'm putting Tsitsipas up to 3, and he's breaking into those big 3 of the clay courts of Nadal, Thiem, and Djokovic, because he's been amazing on clay, and in combination with Thiem being horrible. So Tsitsipas is 3rd on my French Open power rankings, behind Djokovic at 2, Nadal at 1. Thiem is now at number 4 at my French Open power rankings. Then Zverev has won a Masters of 1,000. He's 6th in the world. I've got to give it to him at 5. And then at 6, yeah, it's a bit difficult after that. Give me a second. Hope you guys are been having a good week too. So yeah, what I was saying, like Medvedev, I really have to push him down the list. But like I said, so I've got Thiem at 4, Zverev at 5. Yeah. Sorry. So let's go back to this. Nadal at 1, Djokovic at 2, Tsitsipas at 3 on my French Open power rankings, Thiem at 4, and Zverev at 5. I think I'll put Rublev at 6 because like he's got power to hit through any kind of a clay court. And then he's 7 in the world, and then I'm pushing Medvedev behind him, so then he goes up to 6 on the French Open power rankings. He's made a Masters of 1,000 final. He's been in a lot of quarterfinals, so I think he deserves to be at 6. And then Berrettini, I'll give it 7. Because like he's won a 250 in Serbia, he's made a final in Madrid, so Masters of 1,000 final, a 250 winner. So I think it's really close between 6 and 7, but just because Rublev beat Nadal and he's a bit more consistent, I'm giving it to 6 on the French Open power rankings for Rublev, 7 for Berrettini, 8 for Schwartzman, because Schwartzman hasn't done well this year, but he was in the semi-finals of the French Open last year and final at Rome last year. So he could turn it on at the French Open. So I'll give him 8th place. Schwartzman. Then I'll give Roberto Batista a good 9th. I mean, he's always from Spain, likes the clay, quarterfinals consistently in a lot of tournaments. So I'm going to give him 9. Then I'm going to give Federer 10, even though he's just coming back, just because of all he's done in his career. I mean, he's been one of the top 3 players at the French Open for a long time, and that big match experience helps Roger. So I'm giving that to Roger at 10, and then I'll just put in 11. I'll put in 11 and I'll give Medvedev 11 just because he's 2 in the world and done some things, but he's poor on clay. But there's only so far I can put number 2 in the world down just based on surface. So that's my French Open power ranking. So let's get into the draw. Let's preview this. Got a lot to say here. So first, let's look at the draw, right? So let's look at Djokovic. He's the number 1 seed. He's got Sandrin in the first round. He should get through that. Probably Lucas Poli in the second round, maybe Quaver. So won't get too much trouble in the first 2 rounds. Humbert in the third round, like Hubert Humbert. I mean, like he likes to attack and shorten the point, so I don't think he would challenge Djokovic on clay. So now I've got Novak into the 4th round, and then the 4th round, yeah. So he would play Goffin in the 4th round. Goffin could be the first test, but it'll be a test, but not enough to really could get a set maybe. But then Djokovic moves through to the quarterfinals, maybe pushed a bit from Goffin, gets a set. Then it's going to be either Berrettini or Federer because Federer hasn't proven much. And he's coming back from a long time and doesn't really like clay anyway. And Berrettini's 1 to 250 in the final in Madrid. I'll say Berrettini will meet Djokovic in the quarterfinal. Berrettini again, I mean, he probably pushed Djokovic to 4 sets again with the power, but the problem is that Djokovic gets back the ball. Like a guy who depends too much on his serve doesn't have movement and consistency in the ground shots. Djokovic is a great returner, so he's going to get back a lot of serve, force him to win rallies just to hold. He's not going to be able to compete with rallies with Djokovic. He's going to have to attack to shorten the point and just hit the ball hard and take risks. But Djokovic's defense is going to be so good, so he's going to have to go harder and close to the line, and then there'll be all these errors because he'll be panicking because like first thing his serve will be coming back, he'll be forced into rally. Then his attacking game to shorten the point. Djokovic's defense will stand up to that. And it'll be even harder to get past Djokovic's good defense on a slow clay court. So then it'll mean Djokovic will get back even more serves because of that. And then more of Berrettini's attacking shots in the rally. And then Berrettini will be in rallies and won't be able to end them quickly due to it being clay and will go for too much and then get broken. On Djokovic's serve, Djokovic will just be rallies. He starts the point ahead, moves Berrettini around, can't really move. So we've got Djokovic in the semis. So that's that sort of part of the draw. Djokovic moving into the semi-final. For Federer's part of the draw, he's got a qualifier. He could win that. Probably Cilic in the second round. Cilic has been poor. It's going to be close, but I think because Cilic has been so bad and Federer of all his practice and beating a qualifier and all of that could beat Cilic. I'm going to say 50-50. I'll give it to Federer. And then he moves through to the 3rd round. Again, it's 50-50 with Fritz. I'm going to say he's going to just survive again and make it through to the 4th round, but then he'll lose to Berrettini probably in 4 sets in the 4th round. That's the way I see Federer's tournament. I'm going to give him a 4th round, but he's got to get through 2 tough 50-50 matches between Fritz and Cilic. Fritz is going to be a bit more harder because Cilic hasn't done anything for a long time. So, but by every round he should get better. So the level will be higher against Cilic. He'll be better, and then the level's going to be higher again against Fritz. Federer will improve. So there you go. But then Berrettini, who's 1 to 250, final master of 1,000. Federer, 40 years old, too early in his comeback on clay. He won't beat Berrettini, so he'll go out in the 4th round. Let's look at Nadal's draw. Just trying to go through. It's quite a big draw. Yeah, so Nadal's got Alex Popyrin in the 1st round. Shouldn't be much of a challenge there. Like Gaston or Gasquet in the 2nd. Probably be Gasquet. Gasquet will just give Nadal a lot of rally shots, but won't have enough power to challenge him. So it'll just be rallies that Nadal's in control of. Ideal matchup for Nadal there, especially on clay. because there's not enough power to get through a slow clay court. Nadal will have all the time in the world. Sonigo in the third round, like Sonigo, he did well in Italy, but that was a one-off. Like there was another in Parma, I believe, this week, and he went out in the first round. Didn't play Madrid. Monte Carlo didn't do well. Not enough consistency. Won't challenge Nadal. Nadal wins that. Then Nadal's going to play Monfils or Sinner in the fourth round. We saw, I mean, Monfils has done nothing, so Sinner, I'd say he'd play Sinner in the fourth round. Yeah, Monfils played this week in Serbia and lost in the first round too. So I've got to give it to Sinner. And then Nadal, Sinner, we saw them play in Italy. It was a battle, 2 hours, straight sets for Nadal, probably be something like that. Small chance Sinner gets a set, but then on the clay court, Sinner wants to use his serve attack, shortening the point. It's hard to get through Nadal's defense doing that. And then when Nadal has time to set up and hit forehands and move Sinner around, Sinner doesn't have the defense to stay in the long rallies when Nadal's dictating. And then he's just exposing the defense of Sinner. And then if Sinner wants to attack and shorten the points and not be pushed around, you can't really get it through the court. Nadal's defense get it through the court fast enough, so Nadal can't hit forehands. And if he wants to, he's got to hit it so hard, so close to the line, so there'll be a lot of errors. But could steal a set if he really gets hot. But Nadal's through there. So then in the quarterfinals, Nadal is likely to play Rublev. I mean, Rublev beat him in Monte Carlo, but Nadal had 5 months where he played one tournament and 8 weeks, no matches. And then it was his third match back. He won his first round, but the second round, Dimitrov just tanked and hit every ball out, and Nadal didn't really get a match. So Nadal wasn't even really ready, and a great match there from Rublev. But Rublev does have the game, right, where he wants to be in a rally. He wants to hit 4 or 5 shots and get rhythm, and he has the power to hit through any court. And the biggest thing that frets Rublev when you attack and shortening the point and take his time away, harder to do on clay, and Nadal doesn't play that way anyway. So Rublev's going to give Nadal what he wants, rallies, 4 or 5 shots to sort of really do what he does in the rallies on clay. But then Nadal also going to give Rublev what he wants, 4 or 5 shots, and then he can hit consistently with power, and get through the court. And even if he has to hit 4, 5, 7 shots to get through Nadal's defense, he's got the consistency and patience to do that. And now he's got time to set up on those shots to get the ball through the court and through Nadal's defense, even on clay. So it's a bit of a dangerous one. Thiem and Rublev have that ability where they can stick in long rallies with Nadal, be consistent, but unlike Djokovic, have the power on their rally shot to threaten Nadal and do what even Djokovic does on a faster court. They can do it on clay. So if they're playing well, it could be a difficult one. But then I think when it comes down to it, like Nadal's just playing too well now. So I just think that in the consistency, I think the ball's going to bounce higher and get up to the backhand of Rublev, and that'll cause a problem. And then Nadal will have more consistent. Sometimes Rublev can get frustrated if you play good defense, so that could be a factor. And then also Nadal will have better defense, force him to hit 5, 7 shots consistently for hours. But when Nadal is in control, I don't think Rublev's defense will stand up to that. I think Rublev will probably get a set, but Nadal will probably take it in 4. So now we're left with a Nadal-Djokovic semi-final. So let's go to the other part of the draw. The other part of the draw now. Like, there's Medvedev's part of the draw, which is like he's messed up the draw by being number 2 and being horrible on clay. He's got Bublik, I don't know, because he's so bad on clay. You'd think he'd win it, but you don't know. And then he could get O'Connell and Paul, and then possibly Opelka. So I really think there's an opportunity for him to do more this year, because Opelka's dependent on the serve, and it's Clay and Medvedev will get more balls back on the rally, on using his defense, the return of serve. So you never know. He could move through to the fourth round, and then it would be Dimitrov. And Dimitriev's not that great on clay either. So you never know. Medvedev's game could not be on. Neither could Dimitrov. He could get it through. Even though I doubt it, if he plays his best, he could make the quarterfinals because there's not really any tests before then for him. But then again, he's bad on clay, so it's a difficult one. But let's just give him the quarterfinal position for now. Then let's look at Thiem's draw. Thiem's the one, not been playing well, has no confidence, needs an easy draw to just build his game into this. Thiem's got Andahar. He beat Federer like in Geneva. So with Thiem losing to all these players and really out of sorts and no confidence, it's a big possibility that he could be out in the first round against Andahar. 50-50, but I'll just give it to Thiem, and then he's got Albot or the bonus. If he's won the first match, he should be able to beat these guys. But then it gets tough. Then he's got Fognini. That could go either way, and it's very hard for him to survive this one. But Fognini's up and down. If he's brilliant, he'll beat Thiem. If he's not, he won't. But because we don't know about Fognini, and Thiem's been more consistent over recent years on clay, I'll give it to Thiem and put him through to the fourth round. But all these matches are dangerous for him as they are with Medvedev. Then if he gets in the fourth round, Thiem would play Rudd. Now Rudd's been way better this season. Rudd's a clay quarter too. Thiem's more ahead of him, like on clay over the last 3 or 4 years. But then this particular year with Thiem at his worst and Rudd's improving every year. Like again, this is another 50-50 match and Rudd, but I'm just thinking just based on the experience, I mean, it's hard for me to tip these young guys and what Thiem has done. So Thiem, there's a great chance he loses this, but I'm just going to give it to him. And then he's going to move through to the quarterfinals, which it's very hard for him to get there. And he'll only be here if he's much improved and the old Thiem comes back, right? But it's a hard draw for a guy who's not playing that well. Then he's going to have Zverev in the quarterfinals, right? So, I mean, like, this one is difficult. And because Thiem has not been playing so well, but then on the other hand, if he makes the quarterfinals, his game's probably in a much better level than where it is now at that point. So what am I thinking? Oh yeah, so Zverev. So I just think like I'm just going to say 5 sets to Thiem just because what he's done more in recent years. But like again, it's a close match, 50-50. Even if Thiem, it depends if is Zverev doing what he did in Madrid. If so, even Thiem improved. The improved Thiem won't do it. But I'll just give it to Thiem and then have him in the semi-finals now. But I'm not very confident about this at all. And then we've got to go back to the quarter of Medvedev, where I had said he was in the quarterfinals. Tsitsipas's draw, he's got Shardy in the first round, Quarter or Martinez in the second. We'll get through this. Isner, I mean, the way Tsitsipas is playing, winning Lyon, doing well in Rome, winning Monte Carlo, should beat Isner. Then Pablo Carreno Robusta in the fourth round should do that. Then Dimitri. Yeah. Sorry. Pablo Carreno Robusta in the fourth round should do that. And then he's got Medvedev. I've got him in the quarterfinals. I would give it to straight set. Tsitsipas beats Medvedev. So now we're left on our French Open semi-finals, and we've got Thiem Tsitsipas in one semi-final. But the chances that Thiem actually makes it there is probably less than 50%. But I'm just giving it to him on the basis I think he'll find his game at the right time. But now he's playing Tsitsipas and Nadal Djokovic in the other semi-final. So when looking at all of this, I've put Tsitsipas ahead on my power rankings. He's won a Masters of 1,000 on clay. He's pushed in other tournaments, Djokovic in one, Nadal in the other, right to where 1 point is determining. They're just that better experience of Nadal and Djokovic, but he's pushing them at their absolute best level and making it come down to experience in 1 point. He's winning another Masters of 1,000. He's winning in Lyon. Even though at this time Thiem would be much better, he would have to be at the level of Nadal or Djokovic to beat Tsitsipas. And even then, it'll come down to 1 point or so. And then if he does that level, he'll still need to have the great ability of Nadal and Djokovic under pressure to be even with Tsitsipas, and let it just come down to the extra experience and the fact that Nadal and Djokovic are amazing under pressure to get Tsitsipas. But even if he reaches that level and it comes down to 1 or 2 points, he won't have that experience and great play under pressure that Nadal and Djokovic has to steal it away from Tsitsipas when he otherwise deserves it. If anything, Tsitsipas may be better than him under pressure, or they're at least equal. So Nadal and Djokovic could say, well, we're on the level of Tsitsipas, coming down to 1 or 2 points, we're better under pressure. But if Thiem gets to that level, which he probably won't do, he doesn't have that Nadal or Djokovic factor under pressure. So even if it's coming down to 1 or 2 points, Tsitsipas has just as much chance of coming up big at the big moments as he does. And then for it to even get to that point, Thiem has to be his best ever, and I don't even think he'll get to that level. And then even if he does, Tsitsipas has at least a 50% chance. But Tsitsipas has just been way better this clay court season this year in general. He was in the semi-finals at the Australian Open. I mean, won a Masters of 1,000, won a 250 right before this, pushing Nadal and Djokovic. Thiem, it's his worst year. I'll give Thiem a set, but I'm going to say Tsitsipas is going to win it. He's going to move into the French Open final. He's going to wait for the winner of that Nadal and Djokovic match. So who's going to win there? I just think, like we saw last year, Nadal destroy Djokovic, right? Great level. And I think, like, at Rome, where the conditions are better for Djokovic and not as good for Nadal, because lower bounce and faster suits Djokovic, hurts Nadal. But now we're back to that French Open court where Nadal destroyed him, that suits Nadal more, Djokovic less. I'm going to give Djokovic a set. I'll say it'll be 4 sets to Nadal. Djokovic will be angry about what happened last year. He'll be doing whatever he can to change it. But Nadal at his best in the French Open, and then Nadal that beat him in Rome on a faster, lower bouncing court that doesn't suit him. Now much more at home at Roland Garros and much harder conditions for Djokovic. Even though Djokovic has pushed him to the limit and didn't win, now with the conditions more favourable for Nadal, slower and higher bouncing, and less favourable for Djokovic, he'll be close, but he won't be able to be as close as he was at Rome, because it's worse conditions for him and better for Nadal due to being slower and higher bouncing. So Djokovic's determination of what happened last year and out for revenge will make him play well, but he won't be able to be quite as close as Rome due to slower court, higher bouncing. Nadal better at the French Open. Where leading into that match, Nadal only had 9 Rome Masters, Djokovic 5. So, but at Roland Garros, it's 13-1 to Nadal due to being slower and higher bouncing, suiting Nadal. So again, it's going to be easier for Nadal here, harder for Djokovic, but so he won't be able to be as close. But with Djokovic not wanting to be embarrassed after what happened last year and all this determination, bringing that level he brought to Rome, and not being in a position where he played 2 matches a day before, like in Rome. So Djokovic will be determined, but I think it'll give him a set. But Nadal at the French Open is just too difficult. It's slower, it's higher bouncing, it's worse for him, better for Nadal. But the only thing that's going to make it close is Djokovic's anger from last year and wanting to really do something special. But to get it to 5 sets, like I said, he could do it if they were playing on the Rome court. But on one hand, this court suiting Nadal would make it straight sets and make it much harder than for Djokovic to keep it close than Rome. But then on the other hand, you got Djokovic's motivation, not after being destroyed, not wanting it to happen again. So I think for me, when you add up those factors, you don't get it as close as Rome because of the conditions, but you don't get an embarrassment because Djokovic is angry about that and determined to not let it happen. So you get a 4-set victory for Nadal. The key is all about Djokovic not being able to start the point ahead using his serve, attacking Nadal's second serve, starting the rallies ahead. Can't do that. 50-50 rallies and having to hit through the court and through Nadal's defense on a slow clay court, whereas he can't do that. But in those 50-50 rallies, now the ball's traveling slower. Nadal has time to set up on the forehand and hit 1, 2, 3, as many forehands until he gets past Djokovic's defense. But in those rallies, Djokovic doesn't have the ability to do it, and he can't start the point ahead with his serve or attacking Nadal's second serve. So he's forced into these long, drawn-out rallies, and he needs to get through this slow clay court in Nadal's defense and not being able to do it. But then Nadal benefiting from this by saying, well, it's a slower court. I've got time to set up and hit forehands, and I'll keep hitting 1, 2, as many forehands until I get past Djokovic's defense. Also, the ball's going to bounce higher, and Djokovic is going to be difficult. And whenever that happens, it could cause a short ball, and Nadal hammers a forehand. But yeah, 4 sets for Nadal. He moves through to the final, and then Tsitsipas Nadal in the final. We saw it in Barcelona. Now we've got a rematch here in Roland Garros. And I just think like Tsitsipas has played well, but the fact is he was so close, and it just came down to Nadal being better under pressure in Barcelona. But that was in Nadal's second tournament after a long break. It was only about Nadal's second match where he just found a decent level of form. So he's getting out of a bad period of form, Nadal, and just starting to find his game, but not really quite there yet. But by the end of Roland Garros, the final, the last match of the clay court season, he's going to be clicking on all cylinders, 100 out of 100. So now Tsitsipas has to beat a much better Nadal. And the Nadal that he was even with in Barcelona, that it came down to pressure and experience in one point, he'll have a much tougher challenge. So he won't be able to make it as close. But he'll probably get a set, and maybe Nadal's a bit tired from beating Djokovic. Tsitsipas is playing great, and that's enough for him to get a set. Again, in the rallies, like getting the ball high to Tsitsipas's one-handed backhand, controlling the point. Whenever they're having these long battles on clay, when Nadal's controlling the point, he's outlasting Tsitsipas in the long rally. Tsitsipas doesn't have the defense that he has. Tsitsipas's defense can't stand up to these long rallies when Nadal's hitting forehands. Tsitsipas one-handed backhand can't stand up to Nadal's forehand across court. And just in these long drawn-out rallies on clay, Nadal's got more consistency of power. And whenever Tsitsipas is on the back foot, against Nadal's forehands, doesn't have the ability with great defense to turn defense into offense. But when Tsitsipas is ahead, Nadal does have that ability and make him hit 3-5 shots every time that are a high level just to end it. That's tiring. But when Nadal's in control of his forehand, Tsitsipas doesn't have that ability. So Nadal, like, controlling the point with his forehand, and Tsitsipas, more of an attacking guy who shortens the point. Not like a Nadal Djokovic defense. He won't be able to stand up for it. So then he's going to be forced to attack and shortening the points. And Nadal's defense is going to be great. So he's going to have to go harder, closer to the line, trying to win by shortening the point over 5 sets against Nadal on clay. His serve's taken out of play. And then, like I said, in the 50-50 rallies, Nadal using the forehand across court, getting it high on the one-handed backhand. So the more consistency for Nadal, the better defense. When he's in defense, he can turn it around to offense. Tsitsipas can't. The high on the one-hand backhand of Tsitsipas, the more consistency for Nadal, and the fact that every time Tsitsipas is into defense, he's lost the point. and can very rarely turn it around. When Nadal's in defense, he can turn it around. So then the more consistency off the shot, the serve being taken out of play with Nadal standing back on clay. So yeah, basically it's the better defense, the consistency, the fact that Nadal's forehand across court really exposes one-handed backhands, and it's really a problem. Whenever you're in defense, you lose the point, but when you're in offense, the other guy can turn it around, right? And then when Nadal hits forehands, your defense can't stand up. So now you've got to be always shortening the point, difficult on clay. And then you're constantly battling forehands across court in your one-hand backhand. You can't handle it. You've got a short ball. And again, Nadal's dictating the points with forehands. By the way Tsitsipas has played, even against Nadal's best level, I'll give him a set. But I'm going to say Nadal's beating Tsitsipas in the final. He's your 2021 French Open champion. He wins the tournament and gets his 21st slam and starts to close down the GOAT debate conversation for now. And Djokovic has a tough struggle to catch up to Nadal's 21 slams, but that's for another video. This is my French Open preview, and I predicted Nadal to beat Tsitsipas in the final and win his 21st Grand Slam. I'm going to be back for a preview of the quarterfinals, semifinals, final. So be back for those videos for the French Open. I'm also trying to get an interview with Nadal before his first round match. So guys, just 1 sec. Semi-finals of the French Open, final of the French Open. So be back for those videos. I'm trying to interview Rafael Nadal before his first round match. If not, I'm going to try to get him perhaps after he wins the French Open for an interview. So be back for that. But if I can't get him, I'm not 100% sure yet. Definitely be back for my quarterfinal preview of the French Open, semi-final and final preview. And again, sorry, there's an alarm that's went off, doing it live, so there's not much you can do about that. But yeah, be back for those videos. Subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks a lot. And be back here for my videos. But you'll love your subscription, and just try to give me a thumbs up if you can. Bye for now. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.